Okay, so Lauren Adams in the house, fresh out of the NQT studios. What'd you think?
Yeah. Number one, thankful for just courage to step in here to the NQT theater. It's or studio. It's it can be intimidating.
It's a theater.
There's a lot of stuff in here. It looks kind of professional, but talking about a difficult subject too, which I give her plenty of props there to be able to talk about her experience and just be real about what God took her through and even is taking her through, and doing it in a way that I think is going to be helpful to others as they listen to.
100%. I was thinking, man, in my younger 20s, I wasn't anywhere near as mature, as she is. And then to think that is someone who's pouring into the next generation, that just gives me like tons of peace and encouragement. That kind of gets me pumped up for the next generation. Because I mean, if that's how they're being led and equipped, even thinking about my own kids and things like that, I just, I don't know. No one's perfect, but for someone that young to redeem suffering and kind of loss in her life, like that's incredible. That's just a testament of God working through her.
Yeah, knowing that she is working with high school students and who are going through grief and loss as well.
Yeah,
nobody's immune to it.
Yeah,
what a great person to have there walking side by side.
Yeah, middle school and high school, and man, they'll transition to college. She's clearly going to keep up relationships, as those students get older, and I'm just always encouraged, and it's not because I've gone through loss myself. It's just I love the idea, the concept of we can struggle, and that's okay, or we can ask God questions and we can trust Him at the same time. Like that thing that she was talking about, everything coexisting together. And, I don't know about you. I feel like we're forced, or we're told to be forced to pick one over the other, and it can't be both.
Yeah, I'm thankful again. We talked about it in the episode, but that it goes back to the garden, and it goes back to the struggle. It goes back to this is what I want, but what you want, God, supersedes any of that. That we actually have that picture, and for her to remind us of that again and how that has helped her. That's important to keep in front of us too. I think we want to go to the comfortable when things are not going right, or when things are out of order, or things have been upended. We quickly want to get back to what we know, and it's hard to trust during those times. We just want, please restore whatever was there, and I'm sure that had to be going through Christ's mind there. I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking about in that. I just want to have more time with my disciples. I just want to continue to provide for my mother. There's just a lot of things that could have been going through his mind during that time, and important things, things that we're loving. And
do you think people understand that story?
I don't.
I don't think a lot of people.
I don't think we spend a lot of time.
I don't think people understand the context of him going, if possible, to take the cup away from me.
Right.
And we've some people have heard about him crying blood and being in agony, and Jesus, he was in the flesh. He was fully man and fully God at the same time. Here we go on two things coexisting again, and he does pray, God, if it's possible to take what's coming up, what I'm about to go through in the crucifixion, if it's possible to take that away, basically, can we do that? However, if it's not, then your will be done. Yeah. I think a lot of people skim over and don't actually understand, that story, or they just miss it, or they just think, oh yeah, Jesus prayed for his Father's will to be done, and that's it. It's like, well, no, he prayed two things there.
Right. And it's not a selfish kind of prayer either.
No.
Like, I want to hang back here a little while. I believe he saw what was going to happen.
Yeah.
That his disciples were going to be, it was going to be a scary time for them.
Yeah.
They would be without him. And he knew the whole time that he was walking, that he was the best thing for them. He even referred back to himself. And so knowing that they were going to be scared, that they were going to be in a place where they could no longer see him, even for a brief amount of time, what that was going to do to them.
Yeah.
And the fear that had to be behind that for them, and his love for them never stopped in that. And so, very hard, but we don't spend a lot of time on that.
No, it encourages me when Lauren was talking about it that I could be, what if I'm just at my lowest of lows, or I'm just in a really dark place, and whether I'm questioning God or I'm just, let's just say I'm just upset or I'm sad or I'm grieving, like I'm really, really sad. I can be all of those things, and I can choose to trust God at the same time. And that is honest and good and godly. We think we have to clean ourselves up before we trust God again. I know God's looking at us like, no, I just want you to be honest. And I'm sorry you're hurting, and I'm with you. It's like a parent to a child. I didn't even think about a lot of that stuff until becoming a parent. And there's times I'm looking at my kids, and they're legitimately hurt. I am legitimately sorry for their pain. Yeah. I wish I could take it from them, but I can't.
Right.
However, I'm also right there with them, and that's it. Like I'm there with you through it, and I love you, and I'm sorry. And so anyway, it's just an interesting thought on do we trust God in the midst of the struggles in lifetime, or do we think we got to quote get over something before we can turn and face them?
No, I think what Lauren helped us see, and that I am taking with me too, is that it is okay to ask questions in the middle of it. And wouldn't we as parents, say our child's going through a difficult time, the norm is that they're probably going to be a little quiet.
Yeah.
They're working on something. They maybe don't even have the words. But they're thinking about it. Maybe it's a friendship. Maybe it's something that they're trying to figure out within that friendship. But wouldn't you love it if they just asked you questions?
Yeah.
I would think something like, Dad, did you ever go through something like this? And what did you see? What did you learn from it? I would love that question that could speak into, say, my daughter's life during that
Dad,
time.
how should I respond to this?
Right, exactly.
What advice would you give me? Even to the point that we will say, what's going on? We pull questions out of them, and you can see that they have questions.
Right.
But it's up to them if they want to be honest with us or not.
So why wouldn't we think that an all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful God would want to also answer those questions for us?
Yeah. Why would he do anything less? He's going to do even better than anything we're thinking about.
And if I just took that with me, wonderful. We had a lot more from that episode that we can take with us, but even just that gold nugget right there.
Yeah, that's an excellent takeaway. Do you think ever there's going to be a day that Quincy James Adams is going to be on the ticket? Going to run for the old presidential position someday?
I'm assuming you're not talking about the radio station. You're talking about
not the
presidential ticket.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous. Not the ticket. Although we'd love the ticket if you ever want to sponsor us. But Quincy James Adams, the third of the North, knighted west of this century.
I don't know Quincy that well, but he has the name for it.
He does have the name. What about a Adams Howard presidential ticket someday?
Probably best if it's Jessica.
Would you vote Adams Howard, Adams Mobley? Mobley Adams.
Is there anything
Howard Adams
else on the ticket?
Howard Adams. That sounds like a first and last name.
Howard
That's great.
Adams.
We are derailing here, but thank you guys for joining us. Any last words for the debrief for interview with Lauren?
Are you going to press the button where it makes it sound like I cuss again?
We apologize about that. I got a little button happy. I'll just say in my full confession, Chris did not.
If you're a middle schooler or a high schooler listening to this, because you're very close to Lauren and you're supporting her.
Chris was not cussing, for the record. Let's calm down all the controversies out there and all the news articles being written right now. Chris did not say a single cuss word on our previous episode with Lauren.
Well, I'll leave you with this word. Creed t-shirt.
Creed, let's go!
Thanks so much for joining us. Please consider rating and reviewing our podcast and hitting subscribe on whichever platform you prefer. Remember to keep moving forward because we're not quite there.